Please hold the line. We will answer your call as soon as possible.
I'm Michael Schneider, and in today's episode of Please Hold, we have Loic LeMeur, an old friend of mine and the founder and CEO of LEADERS. LEADERS is an organization that aims to find the best speakers in the world and then provide those speakers to conferences and events all over the world. And thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
I know you woke up at 3 in the morning and you're jet lagged, and I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
My first question, which I didn't plan on asking you, but you reminded me, is tell me about your diet recently, because I think of you as a friend that likes to enjoy good wine and good cheese and good meats, and all of a sudden you're like eating nothing and you're drinking only water. Like, tell me about it.
I like to experiment with myself a lot. So I experimented with meditation. Maybe we'll talk about this later. I experiment and this with a lot of things. And this is, I was with Wim Hof, who is known as the Iceman. So he claims Mount Everest in shorts. And
he climbed Mount Everest in shorts?
Yeah, in shorts. And he has like 15 world records, but one of them is to stay a couple of hours in iced water. So he's crazy. And
is this where you're going? Like eventually you're going to get there? Okay.
But the teaching is how to control your mind and also what's healthy for you. Mm-hmm. And so he said, I only eat once a day. So I was curious and I started to do some research on why you would do that. And there is a lot of scientific documentation that fasting is really good. So this is called intermittent fasting. So it's basically very simple. You stop eating for a number of hours during the day. In this case, it's pretty extreme because it's like 22 hours. So you only have dinner. And from the one dinner to the next dinner, you don't eat anything. But when I say anything, is zero, nothing, water.
You drink water?
Water, yeah. So I'm in it right now.
Okay.
I didn't have anything since yesterday night.
So we have you jet lagged and starving.
And starving, yes, exactly. So it's very interesting, and I did this for 8 days. Mm-hmm. Felt great, except the first 2 days, and then I felt so great that I actually started doing a real fast just to see, and I went 72 hours with just water. And actually your body stops like telling you he's hungry because he's not hungry actually. The real hunger comes in a different form after like 10 days, according to what you read. So the first signals which are like I'm hungry actually disappear really fast. So that was fun, and I felt great, and it's a feeling that we don't actually need it. We have a lot of fat around us. Mm-hmm. Anyone has, and well, more or less, right? But you can run on that for a very long time, and it's actually very good for you. I have read because it pauses your, it gives a break to all your like everything happening, digesting food, mm-hmm. especially if you eat meat like I do. Your body works a lot, and that energy consumed by all the processing of food that you don't need, so it's available for something else. So you actually feel great. But just to be totally honest, I felt great the whole time. I think I'm going to do that very frequently. And both my doctor and a friend who is wrote a number of books on food and is a scientist and doctor said that was the worst thing I could do to myself. So there is a huge disagreement.
How do you feel? That's the most important.
No, but I feel great, and a ton of people do it for religious reasons or not. I'm not religious, but yeah. It's very interesting that it's a toll. People don't agree on it, and there is a Nobel Prize this year that was awarded to a Japanese scientist that shown that if you fast for more than 72 hours, which I did, you renew all your cells, all your dead cells like disappear, and you renew your most of your system to fight bacteria, and so it's really good for you. But then my doctor says it's really bad for me, so I have no idea.
Wow.
But I like it.
Okay.
I had a lot of pasta last week in Italy, so it's probably not so good to go like this, right? So yeah, I enjoy good food and wine otherwise.
Yeah, good. Well, that's amazing. If I miss my afternoon snack, I'm starving. So I'm very impressed that you eat no breakfast.
It's in your brain.
I'm sure it is, but you're stronger up here than me.
Yeah.
So listen, I wanted to talk about first your schooling, because you went to HEC, right, which is one of the best schools in France. And in the early 90s, it wasn't so common to study entrepreneurship. And I'm kind of curious, where did that come from?
Oh, it's very simple. My father was an entrepreneur and my grandfather was an entrepreneur too. So I grew up and my kids saw both of our parents being entrepreneurs. So hopefully it continues. I think that's the plan.
Yeah.
But I grew up just seeing my parents being sometimes very stressed, as you know, but also most of the time totally free of what they decide to do. And I saw this as a model that I would prefer, like owning a shop downstairs on Market Street, than working for someone else. And nothing wrong with working for someone else, it's just not for me.
Yeah, that was pretty uncommon in the early 90s, when perhaps everyone wanted to be a lawyer or a banker, and especially in France. I mean, it wasn't...
well, the business school I graduated from, I was probably the only one unpaid student when I graduated for a whole year.
Unpaid meaning you didn't have a job waiting for...
No salary.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't paying myself. I started my startup.
You started your business.
Yeah, all my friends were at McKinsey and Goldman Sachs and like luxurious jobs.
You're making all this money and you're stressed out making payroll.
Very well paid, and I was just stressed out making payroll, not paying myself. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is the same now, by the way.
Yeah. Full circle.
Yeah, 20 years after.
So your whole life, or a lot of your life that I've known you, it's all about kind of connecting people. And obviously you ran the web, and now you're at Leaders. I'm curious if you kind of designed your life like, I want my mission to be to connect people, or is this just part of your personality and you're like, this is fun, I'm just going to do it for the rest of my life? Like, where did that come from?
I think I have this in me, and one of my teenagers is exactly like that, so I can see it in him.
So it's genetic.
Need to be social. It might be, honestly. Because he's just for fun, his name is Gauthier, he's 19 now, years old. And when he was a baby, and you know that because you have a baby now, so you see what I'm talking about, he would give his, they always have a little animal, right, or something they play with that they eat, and like it's the most precious thing for babies, right? How do you call that in English? A push?
Teddy bear or a comfort toy,
like a little toy, yeah? If you would meet him, he would give it to you. He was giving it to anyone, and of course everybody was melting, being like, oh my god, he just gave me the most precious thing he has. And of course you'd give it back to him, which he knew as well you would do. So I'm saying, and so interestingly now, if you ask the French lycée where he went, and anywhere he goes, everybody loves him. And I'm not saying everybody loves me, but I definitely have this need to be loved, which, is either from my genome or how I grew up. I don't know, you tell me. But I have this connection. I love to be loved. I love to help people, because I think you're loved if you help people. Like my kid gives you his toy, right? And then I love connecting them and helping them, and I do that. So with Leaders, so it's always been the case. I was always super social. At Leaders, it's very simple. I got the idea. I was like 43 years old. I was like, okay, I did 6 startups, invested in 50 different startups. What do I do now that I really love? Well, let's start by what do I love? And then there is this Japanese thing, I forgot the name, but it's basically 3 things. It's what do you love, what you're good at, and what can people pay for. So if those 3 things, you're good at it, you love it, and people will pay for it, you have a really great business, because it doesn't feel like work. What I'm doing now doesn't feel like work.
Yes.
I really go because I really want it. So to answer your question, it's finding amazing people and then connecting them. So that's what I do.
And the money part is coming.
The money part, I have to build the product.
Yes.
So it's coming. There is a lot of people that want to find amazing people, a lot, and who will be ready to pay for it. So we're starting with speaking because everybody understands it. Would you like to speak at a conference? Would you like 10K to speak at a conference? Very simple. It's like you're like Santa Claus. You know, you bring gifts. So it's a very pretty simple thing, you know, to do. And I've worked already the last 6 months with 25 events that we've helped and brought speakers.
Wow.
And so that has been very successful. And then event organizers, corporate ones, are totally ready to pay. I know that. I was just on a call with Airbus, the aircraft manufacturer, and more. They organize events for 20,000 people a year, internally or with customers. But you will never hear about it because it's their events. But they're like, where is it? You know, a database. We're building the best and only database of all the speakers in the world. It's going to be the best, of course, but see it as the Netflix of speakers, of conference speakers. So the step one is the database. The step two is the booking system, but then we won't stop here. I'm just starting with speaking because it's very easy, but then we'll add consulting. We will add everything you need to succeed as a leader, which is why I called it leader and not speaker. So writing a book, doing an event, anything that goes like press. We will help you with press. We'll have media requests in there because the press likes it. For example, we did an event on bots, chatbots, or VR. We had a lot of press. CNN is coming to our event tomorrow on meditation and mindfulness. So basically, what it takes to be a leader, and influence is a big one. And so we'll connect you. Maybe we'll help you raise funding at one point.
Yeah.
Is the leader's toolbox. And so I'm super stressed because I'm already burning $1 million a year, but I'm not, without paying myself, but I'm not stressed by the fact that I know corporates will want to pay for it.
And there's really nothing like it in the world that I can think of.
No, you have, if you talk about speaking again, step one, you have agents. The agents are only interested in paid speakers for one reason: is their model is commission. 99% of the speakers in the world are not paid, so we'll work for everybody. So that is a huge difference already. And if you're invited to TED, they won't pay you. You know how TED finds speakers? They use Google Doc. You know how South by Southwest? Google Docs. How Davos? Google Docs. So no one has a software for that. So the first thing we're doing is SaaS for content for events. So like Salesforce helps you with your leads, we will help you with the content. Very, very simple. So we are building a dashboard where the events organizers go and say, okay, I want an event on AI. Great. Here are the speakers on AI that you can have.
Yep. And
then we'll send the invites for you. And we'll say, confirm, maybe, no. And we'll help you with that. That's the basic layer. On top of that, there will be service. And some events already ask us, can you do the whole content for us? And it will be 50K, 100K, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll have, TED has about 20 people doing content, curators. Davos, 20. We will have the same number, I hope, for everybody. We are, basically aggregating enough resources that you will have the same power as TED, except you won't have to pay 20 people, basically.
Yep. That's great. You said something very interesting. You said you feel you need to be loved. And I had a mentor once tell me, I'll never achieve great things because I need to be liked too much. He saw that in my personality. Do you think that real leadership, is there a conflict there between you need to be liked and loved by people and being a good boss and being a strong leader when you need to be?
If you look at Trump, I don't think you need to be loved by everybody.
Whoa, we're going there. Okay, let's go there.
I mean, is he powerful? Yes. Is he financially successful? Yes, apparently. Has he achieved leadership? Yes, the number one position leader of a leader in the world, apparently, right? I don't think he's loved by everybody. Not by me, for sure.
Not by me either.
So I think the rule of can you succeed without being loved by everybody? No. But does it prevent you from succeeding? That's a good question, actually.
Like you as a boss, you want your employee to like you, so maybe you're not as direct as you need to be. Do you feel that at all?
I think there is long term and short term. On the long term, I've always tried to work as if, not not leaving something negative between me and an employee, because, for example, I invest in about 10 of my previous employees who then create startups. So if you get into something negative that they don't like, and so I think you should always see the long term and not the short term. So I've made choices that I could have made much more money if I had decided that that was not important for me. To be loved, I don't know, but be in a good relationship with my previous partners, previous employees, business partners is very, very important for me. Sometimes it doesn't work. There are a few exceptions, but yeah. And it's okay. You don't have to be liked by everybody. Who cares? But I have very strong, I think, business ethics, and you don't need them. You can be a tobacco dealer and succeed.
Yeah.
That's not for me.
Yeah, makes sense. So I had a question about the future, because when I went to the web many years, you always seemed like you were on the very cutting edge of something that was going to be a big trend. And in fact, in 2013, you yourself gave a talk about the sharing economy. And that was very early. Like, I don't think Uber Pool and Lyft Line and all this stuff existed. I'm curious, how do you do that? Like, how do you figure out what the trends are, and how do you kind of predict the future? And then tell me what you think the future is, the next 5 years. What are the big trends?
I think you're way pushing it, but thank you for saying that. But sure, I had the founders of Uber at Le Web, my conference, deciding to do Uber right there.
Actually, if it hadn't snowed in Paris that year,
there wouldn't be
Uber might not exist, right?
Might not, no. There was Jack Dorsey at
I remember him demoing Square.
Right, or Evan Williams, who had no idea that Twitter would be so big at the time.
Yeah.
And so yes, I think it looks like I have a good radar for predicting things, but sometimes I'm way too early. I did a video conversation company called Sismic, which was not a big success because it was 10 years too early. There were no iPhones, no Androids. And I burnt a lot of money. You
were doing Facebook Live before Facebook Live.
I would even say some of the things I see in Snapchat, the video to video, right? When you have this reply, and like that, we were also most important in Snapchat, all those when they stitch videos together and they make it a story because something happens. That we were literally doing 12 years ago. It was 10 years ago. It was called Sysmix with an X. But anyway, so how do I do that? I have no idea, but I'm wrong very often. But I try to. I love future. Yeah, love it. I live in the future actually.
So in like 30 seconds, what do you think are the biggest trends next 5 years?
I'll answer what everybody answers. Well, first off, what's not going to be a trend? I'm not convinced on VR. I'm not sure about VR yet, just because it's kind of a pain to carry a big headset and wear it.
Aren't those going to get smaller, and then maybe a contact? And
Sure, it feels to me like the GSM, the mobile phones of the first ones, where you had a big thing with a big antenna, a battery on the backpack.
Yep.
And so it feels like this. It will change. So that is not the next 2 years. I would say more like 5. But then I'm super excited in drones, super excited in messaging. No one calls anymore. Voice is dying completely, except for videos. But what's not dying, and this is why I still do events, is the need for people to meet in person. And that's very interesting to see. The more virtual we get, the more we meet. And this is why events actually are exploding. But I think it's super exciting. I think the devices will disappear. As you said, they will be on us. And we have just begun. Like, it's very difficult to explain to. So I have a 16-year-old teenager. He cannot even imagine what it was without the internet and what it was without email. I could not imagine. I've been there. You've been there.
I was there.
You were there.
I'm older than I look.
Exactly. You don't. You're not. But you were there. It's very difficult to even imagine when I was at the business school that we had to literally print flyers when we would organize a party and distribute them in the mailboxes of the students, because that was the only way, right? So very difficult to imagine how we will be in 10 years. But I think it's super, super exciting. It has just begun.
I remember one of my first cell phone plans. I think I was 16. It was a big deal to have a cell phone. This is like 96. And it was $30 a month for 30 minutes. It was $1 per minute to talk. I don't think it texted. I mean, I can't imagine 10 years either what it's going to be. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll just think things and you'll hear them.
Telepathy.
Yeah, why not?
You heard it here first.
Why not? No, hey, yeah, there are like brain scanners already available.
Yeah.
There is a TED Talk where there is a demo of a scanner the size of a football. It's big.
Yeah.
And but it reads your mind literally. If you think about a naked girl, which never happens, the French never think about that, you'll see it. So who knows? That might happen. Who knows?
They say when you're
very fascinated with the brain.
Yeah.
I think I think we know that we know nothing about the brain.
I can just imagine people. The future of hacking is literally hacking you to know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Without you saying anything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
or communicating without talking.
Yeah, that's scary.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
I think you're right. So you were talking about conferences, and you feel that people still have the need to physically get together and connect. You just came back from moderating a panel at the Vatican with the Pope. You have been kite surfing with Richard Branson on Necker, and you have been helping plan the World Economic Forum, all this stuff. I remember my first The Web, which was 2009. I know it started before. It almost felt like more innocent times where you had just a few tech conferences, big tech conferences in the world. Now you have all this stuff. You have Slush, Web Summit just had tens of thousands of people.
50,000.
50,000 people in Lisbon. It's crazy. How many tech conferences can this world support? How many of the same people are going to go to the same events? How do you see that?
I know. No, it's a very different world, and I'm restarting one. You're invited, April 11 and 12.
Which one?
In Paris. Leaders.
Oh, Leaders, okay.
Leaders does events.
I thought you were going to say Le Web when you said you were restarting.
No, I'm restarting an event in Paris.
Okay.
But you're right, it's a totally different world. And when we were doing the web in Europe, we were alone, literally alone.
Yeah.
And first. So that was nice.
It's also predicting the future, my friend. You don't give yourself enough credit.
You're right, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's totally changed, but there's still, I think there is room and appetite for quality. And this is why I think leaders will succeed, is that there is generally the content is not always great. And so my effort in helping every event to do great content, but with leaders we're trying to do great content. But it's funny because I'm doing kind of the opposite of what I was doing with Le Web. Le Web was anyone can come, and this is invite only. And leaders is invite only, smaller. Will be 500, 800, I don't know. We were 500 last year, but less than 1,000.
Yeah, it's reminding me of the early days of Le Web, you're building.
Yeah, and beginner's mind. I do it with no sponsors, selling tickets, and pretty cheap and startup mode. That's how I live right now. Even fast, you see how light I am.
Is that a budgetary?
Yes, I cut. It's a budget cut.
I'm gonna buy you a hamburger downstairs after that.
Thank you. Yeah, Elon Musk did that for a while. He says it in his bio.
That he didn't.
He had no money, which is not my case, and he was only eating burgers, which was really healthy, of course.
Yeah. Somehow he still goes to. I'm actually reading a book on him right now, and he still goes to Dairy Queen before the big SpaceX launches.
Oh, yeah.
That's not so healthy.
That's
either.
funny.
But it is inexpensive. I want to talk to you about extreme sports because you are probably the person I can think of that's the most fanatical about extreme sports. Kite surfing, parasailing, is that the right?
Paragliding.
Paragliding. What is the difference between parasailing and paragliding?
I am not sure.
Okay.
There is paragliding. Anyway, let's tell you.
That's what you do.
Find what it is. That's what I do.
Okay.
It's a wing that fits in a backpack.
Okay.
And that you open, it inflates, it's flexible.
That's a sail, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, parasailing is probably the same. What's different is hang gliding, which has a metal structure. It looks like a delta, right? Mm-hmm. Like a triangle.
Yeah.
And you are flying it laying down. This is seated, basically. It's different. It fits in a backpack, so it's super convenient. You can take it on a plane as a carry-on luggage.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
And you're also a commercial grade pilot. So you've done like all these kind of extreme things. What's the connection there? Do you think in life like entrepreneurs have to be super extreme to succeed, and this is just like a manifestation of that, or do you just like taking risks, or like what's the connection there?
I think it's I mean, entrepreneurship is taking risks, and those are very good training for business. Like when you take off a plane, it depends which plane, but the kind of I have a pilot license to fly a jet, single pilot instruments. When you do this, you take off at 4,000 feet per minute, vertical climb. So you climb really, really fast in the middle of airlines, and you have to plan ahead. This is, I think, the best training I've found for business is when you're on the runway, you think about all your initial climb. When you are climbing, you think about your cruise, what's happening, is there weather? Then you're cruising, you could just rest. No. You have to plan your approach and your landing. And when you're approaching, you already thought about what happens if an engine fails and you have to divert, or there's a plane on the runway that crashes or something like this. It does not happen, yet you always plan for it. And you always know what to do. And this is great training, because you have to, even though you're always wrong most of the time, sadly the businesses are less predictable than planes. I like, for example, there's a book which is awesome, which is the Checklist Manifesto. Highly recommend. It's trying to put business into checklists. So we did that for events, because you repeat the whole same. You need badges, you need this, you need that. It's the same. Food, how do you do everything? Put it in a checklist. So anyway, great training. Now for the risk taking, I don't know, I just like it. There's a limit to that. I won't do flying suits.
Flying suits?
So it's like you put wings under your arm.
Yeah, I saw a video recently.
Yeah, that is 50% death rate.
Okay.
Not good. But
maybe if it's 0.5% death rate, you would consider it.
Paragliding is not so dangerous, and
I've seen some of your videos, and you've also told me some close calls you've had. So.
Sure, but it's not so dangerous. It's not 50%.
Okay.
I like speed.
Most entrepreneurs I know, there's some extreme thing that they do, and that's it's also I'm sure therapeutic for you. Like you've had a hard day, and then you go up there, no one's bothering you, you're not checking your phone, you're just.
And San Francisco is the best for that.
In a different world.
The paraglide is always in the trunk of my car.
Yeah.
And I go in 20 minutes. I can be in Pacifica. There's a huge cliff. We go off a cliff, and I can be there for 2 hours watching dolphins, whales, like eagles, and it's like there, no one bothers me. It's amazing. It's very quiet. It's very meditative.
Yeah. You're not taking conference calls with like your headphones plugged in.
Some do. I don't.
Okay.
Some do.
Sorry about the wind. I'm going.
The other thing I do here is hydrophoning, which is a version of kite surfing on a board that flies over water.
That's pretty extreme because of it's got like this blade, right?
Yeah, but it's okay. It's not so dangerous. It goes 35 miles per hour over water. Wow. So we actually go faster than motorboats. It's a lot of fun that you pass a motorboat, right? You have a boat like going cruising at 25 miles per hour, and you pass it. Everybody's like, what is that? And that's pretty awesome. And I race. I'm not the best ones, because I would have to do this full time, but the best hydrofoil racers in the world are here. Wow. And funny enough, in France. And so because the San Francisco Bay is ideal for that. So that I can also leave 5 p.m. my office and be there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty grounded in San Francisco, even though I fly everywhere.
I'm curious about your kind of investment strategy. You said you've invested in 50 startups. Is that the number you told me?
Yeah.
Yeah. You were an angel investor in LinkedIn. Am I correct in saying you almost invested in Facebook, but you passed?
There are two that I did not, which are Facebook and Uber.
Okay.
And I could have in both. Yeah.
Let's move on.
No, it's a good story. I also almost got acquired by Mark Zuckerberg too. And I was just starting Seismic, and we spent an hour together in Davos. I don't know how many employees he had, but he was super small, because he was still talking about a social network for students, for college students, going from college to college.
So this must have been 07?
Yeah,
08?
something like that, 07 or 08. I was just starting Seismic, so 07. And I was doing video conversation, and I told him, and he already liked video, which you can see now with Facebook Live and everything.
Yes.
And again, 10 years too early, and Mark told me, convinced after an hour about the idea, why don't you do it for us? And I said, what do you mean? Well, why don't you join us? And I had just raised $6 million, and so I didn't even think about it. I thought, no, I want to do I want to do my thing. I'm so sorry, Mark. So I could have been,
Employee number 5 or something.
Yeah. Anyway.
But
okay.
you've had some, LinkedIn, not too bad. Smart Things got sold to Samsung. Sunrise got sold to Microsoft. I'm just curious, do you have a thesis that you go by, or is it just gut and who you like?
People.
People.
It's just people.
So is it literally you
People.
like the person, you think they're smart?
Yes.
They will figure it out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, LinkedIn, it was Reid Hoffman that offered. I was very, happy about that. Of course, he offered me to invest in LinkedIn. People were like, "Oh, do you believe in social networking?" Because that was the first, one of the very first, and the first serious one. And it's well, in the case of Reid, it was no brainer. However, I know 2 of my close friends, Joe Ito and Jeff Clavier, that passed on it.
Wow.
So you had to.
They all have their stories.
No, they thought the valuation was too high.
This was the angel round?
Yeah, $10 million.
Okay.
But you never know. Like on Uber, I thought it was something for luxury, luxurious limos. That's what they were building.
Yeah.
And Facebook, I didn't see it at all. Like college students, social network, really, So it's very.
And so in Travis and Mark, at the time.
No, but Mark, I was not offered to invest. I was offered to join.
Okay.
But it's kind of the same, right? It's about if I had seen it, I would have stopped everything.
Yeah,
sure.
Of course.
Right?
You didn't have your crystal ball on you that time.
No. But it's so I didn't see it, but most of the cases it's people. I would say how do you feel that they will adapt? And again, Mark and Travis are masters at this. Just didn't see the opportunity. Yeah. But how will the entrepreneur be able to adapt to circumstances more than what they're building themselves, which doesn't really matter. Leaders will be something else in 6 months. It's how you keep moving.
Yep. You win some, you lose some. You've also had a lot of great exits.
Oh, you lose 90%, 95% of it. It's okay as long as you have a LinkedIn in it.
Yes.
You don't have to have a LinkedIn in it, but a few successful ones.
Yeah. So probably the most over talked about thing is Europe versus the US and what's better for entrepreneurs and all this stuff. I'm just curious, you were born in France and you left at a fairly young age after you achieved some business success, and you moved here and you've been here half of your adult life or close to it at this point. I've
been here 10 years.
10 years.
So I'm 43, so half of my business life.
Roughly half.
That's actually true. I did not see it this way.
Yeah. So you really have a unique perspective on both sides. Why is California just so much better, and that's why you're here? Or what is your perspective on this, having been here 10 years and been working in France for 10 years?
Well, you're in LA, so I would say it's not even California.
Sorry, I included LA. It's San Francisco.
Yes, don't include yourself.
I'm sorry.
No, I think you're an exception.
Snapchat.
I was about to say you're an exception. Snapchat is an exception. Ring is an exception, but you don't have the same ecosystem in LA. And so it's really San Francisco to San Jose, right? It's this 50 miles circle, and not even. And I would say the highly concentration of bright people in technology is nowhere in the world like this. So it's very easy to connect, do events, raise money. I raised from 52 angels on leaders. I could have never done that in France. I think it's fantastic, but now that doesn't mean that our places don't work. Tel Aviv is amazing, and there is a lot happening all around Europe. I was super impressed at Slush. The problem with the startups there is not that the entrepreneurs are less smart or that they are less good or not as good is that they don't have the same velocity, the same exits. There are no exits, very little exits. Very difficult to sell your company in Europe because just people don't buy them. Very difficult, more difficult to go public. These are all cliches I'm serving, but this is just true. It's a fact. And Slush was amazing, or those events, but
does it start with the investors' willingness to take a risk very early? Is it as simple as that?
Yeah, you have less of those, less investors, thank you. And then the legal and social environment is much more difficult. So if you're in France and you want to launch in Germany, you need another company. You need a Germany corporation. And from Germany, you want to launch in Spain, you need
but that's why the EU exists, to kind of centralize things.
It exists, and I hope it won't, collapse because it's frightening right now. But there has never been a real adjustment in the legal environment and social environment. If you hire a German employee, it's all German rules, German laws that you have to, go by. And you have to learn them, and you have to create a structure there, and you have to. It's a mess. It's still a mess. And
you see any hope for it? You think it will get simpler?
No, I think it will stay this way. The good news is if you manage to succeed through that, then you are very protected because it's difficult. So your competition, it's also difficult for your competition.
The barrier to entry is much higher.
Or
barrier to success, you would say.
But look at the number of big multinational successes that started at the same time, succeeded here, became worldwide leader. LinkedIn versus Viadeo versus Zing in Germany. Zing was focused on the German market. Viadeo tried to charge very fast because they wanted to break even. Well, LinkedIn raised more and more and more money, was entirely free, spread all around the world, winner. YouTube versus Dailymotion. Dailymotion was the same as YouTube. Launched actually a few weeks before YouTube in France. Same idea, video on the internet. Which one won? And I could go on. And then sure, there are exceptions like Spotify, like King.com, the gaming, sure.
SoundCloud.
Yes, SoundCloud, by the way, got the first round of funding at my conference, LeWeb. Fred Wilson invested there. But I hear some people met their wives there too. And
guilty.
My pleasure. I'm very glad for you guys.
You're the godfather of our child.
No, but that's why people love to. I'm not, but that's why people love to meet. Anyway, Paris helps, right?
Paris definitely helps.
Yeah. So it's all easier here.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just easier.
So my last question is about, you're so good at predicting the future, I thought I would ask you about bots, and you just had an event on bots. Before we were sitting down, you were telling me how Service saved you over $1,700 recently, and this is not a commercial for Service, but that was kind of a cool story.
It is cool.
I'm curious what you do see as the future of bots. We are making a play that bots are going to play a key role in the future of customer service. And voice is going away, it's all going to go to chat, and then you need bots. Do you agree with that? And where do you see bots being really useful in our lives versus just like when Facebook launched bots, I'm not that impressed. Like the CNN bot doesn't get me anything the CNN app can't. So where do you see bots really making an impact?
Well, no voice again. I am trying right now to book a hotel for Christmas that I'm spending post-Christmas in Tokyo. It seems very easy, and it's not. Yeah, sure, you can do hotel.com. Why? Because I want connecting rooms. I'm there with my family, my kids, so we're actually looking for a 2-bedroom. It's very complex. Airbnb has very little there. So anyway, what do I have to do? I have to call, and I don't want to call. So that's the first thing, is less voice.
There are so many apps. That's interesting though. There's so many apps for travel where you can chat with them and they find you stuff.
Yeah, but it's not. I would say it's not there yet.
Okay.
And especially for business/luxury travel, it's absolutely not there yet, because what you get in those apps is generally, it works perfect for Hotel Tonight, which I love. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking for something really nice for Christmas, connecting rooms, and you have to talk to a human being. So anyway, to your point, no voice, no press one. Like I called American Express yesterday because they're good with hotels. As you know, it's a nightmare. press one, like identify yourself. What's your mother's maiden name? And like you spend just like literally 3 to 4 minutes just identifying yourself, that they verify you. Well,
Which you're holding a device that you probably have their app, which you could just push your finger.
yes, exactly. And they know my number. And they know. And by the way, I'm trying to book a hotel, not to make a transaction, wire $100,000. You know. So this is all like retarded, as you say. They could say, you know, put your finger so we know it's you. Sure. Anyway, so this voice is disappearing, and then so text is just much easier to read, to search, to find. So I think bots, to your question, are going to be everywhere. There is not a single business that will not have a bot. Like there isn't a single business that doesn't have a homepage. 10 years ago, it wasn't that obvious.
But are they the web or are they like apps? Because as you know, my last company, the premise was everybody will need an app.
Yeah.
It turns out not everybody needed an app.
No, people actually don't even want them.
Now it's changing, right?
Yeah.
So will everybody need a bot, or will bots only work for certain segments and they'll work really well for those?
I think that's a great question. I would really expect that most B2C, so stores, will need a bot. That for sure, for service, and I think you're very ahead on this, and it is great because you don't want to talk to anyone in those cases. But actually, no. I think really every single business will need some kind of bot, and it's pretty obvious that you can automate a lot of things and learn. And at the same time, AI is, you know, growing and becoming smarter and smarter. Yeah. So it's just obvious to me. This is why I'm kind of obsessed with doing sessions and events around chatbots, because I actually want it to happen for everybody.
You just want a more convenient world.
Yes, just more convenient, more time to do kitesurfing and paragliding.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, I know I'm the only thing standing between you and your only meal of the day, so I think it's time to call it a day. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
Yeah. Did you like what you just saw? You want to see more? Go ahead and subscribe. We have new episodes every Tuesday. And if there's someone you want to see on the show, just add them as a comment down below. We'll take a look and we'll have them on if we can. Thanks again.